Accompanying me on the keyboard is David, who will be playing songs, a song for each poem, and these songs really resonated for me when I first decided to, be able to participate in this event. And again, I hope you enjoy it. So a little bit about the book. Reflections Half a Century. It's set up in chapters according to decade. So we got 5 decades to go through. And wanted to read the dedication in the first, before we start. I dedicated the book to all of my generation, the baby boomer generation, and my parents' generation, who have short memories but want them to last a lifetime. So we start off with the first decade, 1955, when I was born, to 1965. First poem is Father Shaving, 1960, and the song that will be played is A Time for Us. Father Shaving, 1960. Memories of getting up early and smelling toasted coffee and watching my father shave in the mornings. That feeling of watching my father shave and then going into the kitchen and having breakfast together. It was our time together. Then in an instant, my son was watching me shave every day. He would put shaving cream on his face and use a toy razor to shave it off. We would talk like friends hanging out, even though I was 30 and he was 5. We were forming a bond that would last a lifetime. The next song is a very serious event that occurred in 1963, and the name of the song, the end of the poem, is That Day, November 22nd, 1963, which was the assassination of John F. Kennedy, from my memory as an 8-year-old. And the song will be Abraham, Martin, and John. That day, November 22nd, 1963, school was canceled early that day, just after my 8th birthday, playing after school as usual, and knocking on my friend's door. His mother said, "Danny can't come out to play today. The president has been shot." Running home and shouting it to my mother, she said she knew and turned on the television. We watched it for hours and days, seeing the man who shot him strangely getting shot himself. For days, the headlights on every car burned in memory of this great young man's life and mourned his death. A first experience, seeing real death and dying and mourning, and even as a young boy, the sad reality of human nature. Thank you. Next poem is entitled Trains and Soldiers and Matchbox Series Cars and Building Blocks, 1960 to 1968. And the song is Daydream Believer. Trains and soldiers, Matchbox Series cars, and building blocks, 1960 to 1968. Lionel trains, toy soldiers, Matchbox Series cars, and building blocks, totally immersed downstairs on my basement floor, where I could do anything I wanted. The trains were set up to run over the little gray Nazi soldiers, and the little green U.S. Army soldiers were ready for the invasion. The cars were lined up for the parade, and the blocks were built to hide the generals, keeping it all set up all the time so I could play the same way tomorrow, or 2 days later, or on Saturday mornings. It seemed like years playing that way, having more fun alone with my setups than with my friends on the block. Then suddenly, at close to 11, or 12, or 13, it's hard to get it exactly right, The soldiers were knocked down, and the trains were put away, and the blocks were put in a box, and the cars in a bag. A new reality hit my young mind, thinking that playing with trains, soldiers, cars, and blocks was somehow childish now that I was 13. The truth is that maybe playing was childish, but it was pure happiness. Playing with my trains and soldiers, Matchbox series cars, and building blocks. Thank you. The next poem is one close to my heart because I grew up with it, which is television. And the poem is called Television, 1960 to Forever. And the song will be the song from the TV show Cheers. Television, 1960 to Forever. Transported me through time, growing up with it, knowing every show, when it was on, what day, what time. Sad when the series ended, but always, always replaced by one better than the next, which identified a generation. Television, whether it was Captain Kangaroo, Bugs Bunny cartoons, Looney Tunes, or Donna Reed, Patty Duke, Bachelor's Father, Father Knows Best, The Dick Van Dyke Show, My Mother the Car, The Addams Family, Get Smart, or the Evening News with Cronkite and Huntley and Brinkley. That's the way it was specials. The specials on the space program and the presidential specials, the presidential debates and the presidential conventions, body bags and death counts starting to come from Vietnam. Or Star Trek, the movie specials that you could only see on TV, not DVD. Little House on the Prairie, Happy Days, Highway to Heaven, or $1 Million Movie. When movies were movies, with John Wayne, Jimmy Stewart, Clark Gable, Mickey Rooney, Judy Garland, our parents' stars. But we always knew deep down they would always be ours. Or the Olympics, watching that lone ski jumper facing the agony of defeat. The Mets on Channel 9 and the Yankees on Channel 11, where they both belong. NBC Game of the Week with real baseball stars and personalities doing the calling and the color, like Garagiola and Kubek and Koufax. Or Monday Night Football, Saturday college football, or Sunday afternoon football, watching OJ in the snow instead of on the highway being pursued on the evening news. Seeing Joe Willie Namath work his magic, boxing on ABC with Howard Cosell. Watching Ali Frazier form in Quarry and Cooney. Peyton Place, Dallas, Dark Shadows, One Life to Live, As the World Turns, or Saturday Night Live. Fast forwarding to Cheers, The Wonder Years, Sopranos, Everwood, American Idol, Lost, House, Everybody Loves Raymond, King of Queens, Seinfeld, and Seinfeld reruns, and CNN 24-hour breaking news feeds, all shown on the television, hardly costing any money, transporting me, escaping to another world that may be different or better or worse, but all along helping me get through the next minute, the next hour, or the next day, transporting me through time to a new generation. Thank you. That was a very fun poem in writing.
Yeah.
So it brought on, how many shows did I miss anyway?